nation of Israel, the people as a whole, they were afraid, they were doubting God, and they had their elders, their leaders, the ones that they could look to for comfort and to kind of shepherd them along. They were uprooted from them into a completely different spot. As a nation, they were dry bones. Their faith, and these are people, something that I think is kind of hard to grasp. Back then, they truly and wholeheartedly believed that everything happened because of God. And, it's easy for us to say nowadays, but when something good happens, human nature, our first thought is probably not, this was from God. When something bad happens, we don't want our first thought to be, this is from God. These were people, that was their everyday life. So they knew that they had been abandoned and kind of cast off into this place they didn't know where it was because it was God's plan. And then not to have the leadership there with them. But it ends with a promise, the vision does. Tell my people that I will bring them back to their own land. Tell them that I will put them in their own land and they'll know that I'm God. And that happened. Nehemiah goes on to tell how Israel was returned from their exile and they prospered, tenfold what they had. And they came out of it with a knowledge and a strength that would help them even in today's times when it seems every nation is against them. God always had that plan. Now, the third thing I took out of it, which I think may be the most important, has to do with us. I think that the dry bones could be whatever we make of them. They could be financial dry bones, could be dry bones of a marriage, dry bones of our faith, dry bones of our lives, and God's promise that he would bring us up and out of that he would restore us from that. And I go back to Ezekiel's answer when God asks him, can these bones live again? The faith it must have taken to say, only you know. After being stolen from your home and knowing that it was in God's plan, and that faith that it took to say, only you know, the hope in that it took for him to say that. And when hard times come at us and we go through things, and when God asks us, can these bones live? Do you trust me that the bills aren't going to outweigh your checks? Do you trust me that your marriage isn't going to fall apart? How many times do we just kind of sit there and go, It's not our nature to immediately go, only you know this. It's not, and if we would just have that faith that Ezekiel had to say, sure, because you can do all things. You can do all things. You are all-knowing, you are all-powerful, and then giving it up to God. So, I told you this was going to be short. Tonight, I want to say, this microphone's turned wrong. Things are picky how the microphone goes back in them. There we go. Okay. So tonight, I don't know what you're going through, or if you're going through something, whether it's death, or if you're going through a dry spell with God, or what it is, but God brings the dead back to life. And as that song that we sang strategically says, we call out to dry bones come alive. And as Christians, it's our job to speak over one another, to say, I'm going to help you out, and you're going to come back to life. But tonight, and this is altar call, if everybody will stand. Get my band. I'm going to do something that I don't do. If everybody will close their eyes and bow their heads. I feel I feel like it is our job to uplift each other. So tonight, if you're here and you've got a situation going on that you don't see God's purpose and God's plan in it, and if you think, yes, I'm facing the dry bones, I'm facing that in my life, I would love to pray for you, because it's our job to uplift you and for you to know that God has a purpose for you. And if you just lift up your hand, if there's somebody here who maybe the bills are getting too much and the money's not coming in, your marriage is falling apart, maybe, I don't know. If there's somebody here tonight that you're saved, but you've hit that rough spell with Christ, you've hit that dry spell, the valley of bones, you are walking through it spiritually. Listen, I am a recovered person from self-harm and depression. I get how dangerous that is. To be in that spiritual dry bone, to be in that valley, it's dangerous. Please do not walk through that by yourself. Or if you're here tonight and you have not known Christ, if you've not ever known God in your life, and your whole life has been in the valley of dry bones, if you are the bones on the floor of the gorge, if that is you, we're going to sing this song, and it simply says, "Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true." And tonight, if that's you, you can come down to the altar. There will be somebody to come down and meet with you. You won't have to pray alone. But don't let it get too far. Don't let it get to where you can't come back out of it. And we're going to sing this song.